Coffee, the caffeinated beverage that can help fuel a night of studying or a day in the workforce, has been around for about 500 years and comes in many different blends and varieties. But for a bean that can only grow between the tropics of Cancer and Capricorn, there's an interesting bit of work that goes into perfecting it into its more commonly known form as a beverage. We got the chance to look at 2 local coffee roasters here in Nacogdoches to learn more about what all goes into the art of coffee brewing. Starting with Camino Real Coffee, a family-owned and operated business here in Nacogdoches, where husband and wife Brent and Sarah have the roasting process down to a science. From the farms and the distributors they've befriended over the years, they start with the imported beans and begin their process from there. With quality-tested beans, they begin measuring out and crafting each specific blend. Their main roaster begins its heating process as the valves, switches, and other buttons are selected to get everything just right for the desired flavor. The roaster is covered in various monitors connected to a computer system where they can measure and mark each step of the way, and these sensors begin to liven up as they add the batches of beans in from the top. The roasting chamber works similar to a space heater as it evenly distributes the heat across the beans, darkening them and accenting the intended flavors. As the roasting process continues, you begin to see a difference from the original bean that was placed in the roaster as the darker colors begin to emerge. From there, the beans begin to make a snap, crackle, and pop sound that's similar to the sound of milk being poured into a bowl of Rice Krispies. In this phase, the sounds from the beans let the brewer know that the process has almost reached its final stage. Once the beans are at the proper temperature, they are then released into the bottom part of the roaster where they are spread and rotated. During this phase, the beans have reached the end of their cooking period and are now ready to cool. From there, the beans are ready to be packaged and distributed to the buyers and merchants and to their coffee shop, Java Jacks, located right here in Nacogdoches. With almost 22 years of practice under their belt, Brent spoke with us about the various qualities and taste for judging coffee. There's a 3-year certification that comes with passing a variety of judgment tests to ensure experience and expertise when it comes to articulating the coffee. It helps them communicate coffee and craft a language for the artisans on how they can describe and explain a coffee, whether it's the desired taste from the bean or to the roasting process. We watched as they sampled some of their brews, testing for quality control and consistency, taking notes and referencing how different steps along the way affected this blend's particular taste.
Hi, Non-Flax Coffee Roasters. We roast coffee every Saturday here. We want to make sure that it's fresh. That's why we do it weekly, to make sure that everything we do is fresh and is of the highest consistency and the highest quality.
We also got to meet with Shane of 9 Flags Coffee here in Nacogdoches. He's spent 25 years in the hospitality industry, but he has almost a year experience in the coffee industry. He roasts the coffee for 9 Flags in a handmade roaster that immediately catches the eye. The igloo-type dome roaster located behind his establishment is where you can find Shane and his partner on a Saturday morning completing their roast. Roasting 10 pounds of beans at a time, they replenish the stock that's disappeared over the past week and prepare for future customers. They begin their process by heating up the roaster to the ideal temperature by adding logs and stoking the fire. When the temperature is just right, they'll begin to set up the rotating attachment that holds the beans over the flame. Once the attachments are ready and the beans are in the rotator, they send it off to the flames and attach the rotating motor belt to the contraption. The coffee beans will spend a few minutes in the roaster as they start their journey. With meticulous logs and a thermometer ready, every minute they check the temperature to ensure the best quality coffee bean they can produce. After the required amount of time for the roast has passed, they check the beans to make sure they're ready. If the beans are ready, they're released into the copper hopper and then taken to the cooling area to end the cooking process. The beans are cooled to ensure that the cooking process has finalized before they are ready for the final step. After the beans have cooled, they check for quality by removing any beans that aren't ideal for the roast, and then they proceed to store the beans in the shop.
Now we're importing from 10 different countries. We have African coffees, Central American coffees, and one Indonesian, the Papua New Guinea. We import directly from 10 different farmers. All of our coffee is mountainous grown, shaded coffee, so it's all gourmet bean. We ensure that we import nothing but the finest coffees we can find directly from the farmers. And we try to get you the best cup of coffee that we can. Our quality assurance is top notch. We think we do a pretty